If you grew up in the 1970s, you might have this quiet, kind of unsettling feeling when you look at the modern world. It's not really about nostalgia or thinking things were better back then. It's more of a deep-down realization that you were just wired differently. So, let's dive into this. We're going to unpack the unique psychological environment of a 70s childhood and see how it calibrated a whole generation for a world that, well, just doesn't exist anymore.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It wasn't just about the music or the cars being different. It was a fundamentally different set of inputs for a developing brain. Society, for the most part, trusted kids in a way that seems almost radical today. Risk wasn't something to be eliminated at all costs, discomfort wasn't immediately solved, and your nervous system just adapted to that reality.
So if you ever feel a little out of sync with today's frantic pace, the constant noise, the pressure for instant feedback, it doesn't mean you're outdated. Not at all. It just means your internal hardware was installed during a time of way more autonomy, tolerance for ambiguity, and good old-fashioned self-reliance. You're simply carrying that original wiring forward.
Okay, let's start with one of the most powerful developmental tools of that whole era, something we now see as a problem that needs to be fixed right away: empty time. Boredom.
I mean, this comparison says it all. It highlights this massive shift in who's responsible for what. Back in the 70s, when you said, "I'm bored," it wasn't your parents' problem to solve. It was a prompt. It was a challenge. You knew the next line was going to be either, "Then go find something to do," or the one you really dreaded, "Oh, don't worry, I'll find something for you to do." So you got pretty good at solving your own boredom before someone solved it for you.
And here's what's so crucial about that. All that unstructured time, it forced you to look inward. Without a schedule packed to the minute or a screen telling you what to do next, you had to actually ask yourself, what do I feel like doing? And right there, that's the birthplace of intrinsic motivation. You learn to connect effort with a feeling of purpose itself, not just with getting a gold star or some external reward.
And this just beautifully sums up the long-term lesson, right? Your nervous system learned that empty space isn't a threat. It's a signal. It's an opportunity. And that's probably why, as an adult, you don't totally panic when there's nothing to scroll through or no immediate task demanding your attention. You learned early on that meaning doesn't always come prepackaged. Sometimes you got to create it yourself.
All right, let's move on to our next pillar and see how this all starts to stack up. Direct physical experience. You didn't learn about danger from a bunch of warning labels. You learned it by actually living inside your own body.
Remember? You climbed trees, you rode your bike without a helmet, and yeah, sometimes you fell. You got scraped up. You learned your limits, not because somebody sat you down and explained them, but because your nervous system felt them. Every single scraped knee taught your brain something vital. Okay, this hurts, but it's not catastrophic. Pain was just data.
This process is so key. By engaging in physical risk and feeling the real but usually manageable consequences, you literally calibrated your fear response. It's so different from today, where risk is often removed, but fear is amplified through screens. Your brain learned to be vigilant through direct experience, not by watching something scary happen to someone else online.
Seriously, think about it for a second. When a situation gets tense or chaotic, how do you react? You might notice that while other people get louder or more frantic, you might find yourself getting quieter, more focused. Why do you think that is?
Well, the answer is right here. Because you experience real, tangible consequences early on, your system doesn't just fly off the handle at every little disruption. It knows how to tell the difference between mere noise and genuine danger. So in a crisis, your first instinct probably isn't to dramatize the problem, it's to stabilize the situation. Your body remembers that urgency doesn't have to equal panic.
And that brings us to our third foundational element, the actual experience of being truly on your own with no digital lifeline whatsoever. This single phrase, it just captures a whole world of trust and autonomy, doesn't it? No phones, no GPS tracking, no constant check-ins. You had to navigate your world using your own judgment and a whole lot of trial and error. And when something went wrong, you had to figure it out right then and there. Psychologically, this shaped a capacity that is, well, it's quietly disappearing today. Comfortable solitude. You spent hours with just your own thoughts, or maybe your music, or your friends. Silence wasn't some terrible problem to be fixed with a notification or another scroll. You learned to tolerate and even enjoy the unstructured space inside your own head.
Now, this independence built incredible competence, for sure. It fostered a really strong belief that your actions matter, that you're in control.
a default to self-reliance. But it also came with a hidden cost. When you learn to solve all your problems quietly and by yourself, you also learn to kinda contain your emotions. It can make asking for help feel unnatural, even when support is right there.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. How does all this wiring, forged in boredom and risk and solitude, actually fare in our modern world? Well, this is where we can often feel the friction.
You see, the world you were shaped in valued totally different things. Attention spans were more stable, and competence was something you demonstrated quietly through your work. Today's world, on the other hand, often rewards visibility, speed, and constant emotional broadcasting. So the very rhythm of modern life can just feel noisy. It's not that you're resistant to change, it's a genuine psychological mismatch.
And here's the bottom line, what this all really means. When you find yourself pausing before you react or hesitating to narrate every single feeling you have in real time, that is not a social deficit. It's an adaptation. It's your well-calibrated system, a system trained for depth over speed, for substance over signal, and it's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful idea. The world has changed, no doubt about it. But that wiring you have, it still has immense value. The goal isn't to try and erase that past or force yourself to become louder and faster. It's to integrate it. It's about keeping that resilience and self-trust it gave you, while maybe, just maybe, allowing yourself the connection and support you were never really encouraged to need back then. Your foundation is your strength. It's not something to leave behind.